House Shoes is in the house for the second time. He busted his way back in. We tried to change the locks, and he was like, "Nope, I've been here before. I know where you keep the key."
Got him with a credit card, man.
That's how you do it. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. You know, slowly coming out the cave. How are you, brother?
I'm kind of in the same boat. We were talking off air just a minute ago. We were both at the Blue and Exile show in Highland Park, and how cool and sometimes a little surreal it feels to be back in a crowded space with a bunch of motherfuckers. But I did miss live music.
Yeah, it's crazy. The things we take for granted. You know what I mean? Like, my eyes went bad a few years ago. My asthma shit started about a decade ago, and just taking for granted being around a bunch of people and feeling safe. Remember those days?
It's funny. Like when I watch movies now or things where people are out in public, I get a post-traumatic stress. Like even in a movie from like the 80s where it's totally removed from what the reality is, I start to be like, nobody's wearing masks. They're all so close to each other. Like, what the fuck are they doing? It's like, man, I have a feeling I know what everybody's sessions with their therapist are going to be about in the year 2030. It's like such an indelible print in all of our brains these days, right?
Yeah, it was a hell of a pivot. You know what I mean? I've been in Koreatown for, almost 12 years. And, I've seen masks for well over a decade. And, when you come to realize that the reason these people wear masks is so they don't get you sick. And so they don't get you sick. You know what I mean? It should give you a window to a little bit more understanding and an opportunity to learn something. You know what I mean? I think the main thing I've learned through this whole experience, for better or for worse, is there's two kind of people. You know, there's people that care about themselves more than everybody else, and there's people that care about other people more than themselves. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate that it's become what it has, but it's become what it has because people care about themselves more than other people.
Right. It's a reflection of people's, priorities and their, all that. So we had you on the show before. You were on the show, I believe in, I want to say April, it might have been April, it might have been May of 2020. So it's a crazy passage of time. And, we talked a little bit. So this is interesting too, because I don't know you very well. And I certainly knew about you and I knew who you were before we ever met, but it sort of feels like the world in general has changed. Everybody's perspective has changed a little bit. And you seem like you're I guess I would say from my limited knowledge of you before, and then my interactions with you and still viewing you, through online platforms now, you seem a little more mellow these days. Would you say that is an accurate statement? And is any of that related to COVID?
I think I just kind of took control of my time and my power and just chose to wield it a little differently. I'm a very passionate person. You know what I mean? Like, it's real easy to fucking spark the fire. You know what I mean? And I just got tired of people not knowing what I do because I talk so much shit. Because you know what I mean? I get hot about shit, and it's like, man, it's like standing on the corner and there's a guy that's literally on fire and nobody's paying attention. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, this motherfucker is on fire right now, bro. Like, everyone's acting like it's not happening. Like, am I tripping? Is this guy not really burning to ashes right now? And I just kind of I'm trying to wield my sword a little differently. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily you get more bees with honey, because I don't fucking need any bees. I'm just tired of people fucking not knowing about street corner music, just knowing that House Shoes is a guy that fucking is wildly just a shit talker.
Unfiltered.
And just all the misunderstandings, and I never give context on a lot of shit, and people think that I'm fucking mad all the time. It's like, yo, man, when I fucking half of the time I'm fucking laughing when I post this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not an angry guy. Like, people say House Shoes doesn't give any fucks. House Shoes gives all the fucks, because if House Shoes didn't give any fucks, there would be no triggers. There would be no things to set me off. And it all comes from a place of love and protection. Like, always, every time. You know what I mean? People see the rage, but they don't understand that it's coming from, I love a lot of things a lot, very strongly. You know what I mean?
Right. Passion gets mislabeled often as rage because they can look similar, and there is sometimes like that overlap of like the Venn diagram. But I think I totally can understand and relate to that, as anybody who has ever dated me understands as well. That like I'm not mad. I'm just like excited, and I have a lot of fire. You know, when I'm talking about something that matters to me. So yeah,
and it's interesting because you get people that say like well, I feel like I'm misunderstood, but then like fuck what people think. But it's not fuck what people think. You can say that shit all you want, but at the end of the day, you care what other people think about you. There's nobody that says they don't give a fuck that really means that shit. You know what I mean?
Right, because if you didn't mean it, you wouldn't even say it. You wouldn't need to say it because you honestly wouldn't even care. It's like me going outside and be like, I don't care what neighbors' dogs think about me. Like, why would you say that? It's obviously on your mind if you say it, right?
Right.
So that's
absolutely
a bit of a far out analogy, but whatever. So you're back on the show. You've already run through the gamut before. We were early in our questions days and not yet perfected the archiving process. So your original appearance is lost. There's you and a couple other people. Trackstar from Run the Jewels. He's another guy who's slipped through. So we had to have you back to have you on the record and officially instate.
That's crazy. So it's in the ethers with the Jenny Jones episode. They're both in the ethers.
Yes, exactly. Jenny Jones, you, and Trackstar. That's a setup for a joke right there. Walk into a bar and what happened. So we're gonna get into some hip hop trivia and we'll talk about all of the other things going on and past projects and all that. So are you ready to do this thing?
Let's go, man.
All right. This is a little bit different than last time too, because we used to do this on Instagram Live, which certainly felt like the best option at the time, but holy shit. Yeah. The freezing, like it was also crazy that there used to be an hour limit early on. So like I'd be having like great people on the show and I'd be like, all right, it's 59 minutes. You got to get the fuck out of here.
Right.
So it's definitely, it took me a while to get here, but podcast is where we belong.
Yeah.
So
no, it's been a great ride, man, and it's great to see you fine tune and refine it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your support through all of it. And there's some other cool things that the world will know about soon. I've talked to you a little bit about it. So anyway, we're gonna get into it. Two of the members of up-and-coming group Coast Contra are the twin sons of this MC. Is it Tajay, Razzcast, Diamond D, or Stickman?
That would be B, Razzcast.
He says Razzcast, and he is absolutely correct. Coast Contra, are you super up on them? Do you know a lot about them?
Yeah, they're very talented. I've been watching for a minute. The album's a little bit more up the middle than I thought. You know what I mean? I wanted to hear a little bit more, but it's all good. I mean, they got a whole career ahead of them to do whatever the fuck they want to, and they're not making records for me.
Yeah, it was interesting. I saw them. I did go to another show late last year, which was, I think, really, really one of my first shows back out. I went to see Merce at the Roxy, and he had them open. I didn't know anything about them. I just knew that they were opener, and I kind of just assumed that they were a local opener, which they are technically. But I saw them, and I was like, oh, it's a group? Like there's a group of young guys? That's kind of novelty. And then I kind of saw them and I was like, oh, they're pretty good. I should try to get them some beats or something. And then, 6 months later, they're on Fallon and it's like, wow.
No, it's amazing. The fucking trajectory is super fast. Yeah, man. Cheers to them kids. And yeah, the Toby placement. I think Toby's one of the fucking illest dudes in the game right now. Toby and Guiwe. And to see them then now they're on that next. You know what I mean? So yeah, cheers to them kids, man.
So I want to know for you as the founder and the head of operations, whatever title you want to take for Street Corner Music, you do have to keep your ear to the ground. And I want to know, obviously there's a lot of people whose records you've released that are homies, friends, associates that you've known for a while. How much, as a record label in 2022, how much are you sort of keeping your ears to the streets and trying to scout new talent, or is it more kind of organic for you in terms of the artists that you want to release records with?
It's kind of cosmic, you know. It just happens when it's meant to happen. Yeah, I had a dry period where just, you know, life and I wasn't hearing anything, and I thought I might have lost my fucking ear. And then one day, bang, you know, fucking soundtrack, and we're back to it. You know what I mean? Just building rosters, and I have so many artists now that I fuck with on the label that finding new things is always important, but not the most important. For the last few years, it's just been clearing plates and clearing tables full of full plates. You know what I mean? Not dealing with a distributor anymore has been a very interesting pivot. You know what I mean? I stopped fucking with Fat Beats a couple years ago. Yeah. And it's a whole new world. Not the best, not the worst, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you say interesting, is that a euphemism for this fucking sucks, but here I am? Or is it euphemism, or is it like interesting, like you actually are kind of peeping some interesting things about that process?
There's good things and there's bad things, you know. There's overshooting the target, there's undershooting the target, there's hitting the target spot on. You know, there's still records that go poof in a week or so. Other things have not turned out as well, but it's, you know, there's nothing more valuable than learning something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's what I signed up for, and I'm going to do it till I'm done. So yeah, we got a lot more records to do. You know what I mean? I just want to give kids a good ride at the end of the day. I don't give a fuck about, you know, the public fucking whatever. It ain't about house shoes. You know, it ain't even necessarily about street corner music. It's about these kids' records, man. I just want people to hear the records. Unfortunately, there's not really a budget monetarily or in my time outside of existence. So, you know, you just hope for the best.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to hop into the next question then. Question number 2. Producer Knotts landed a significant break when he first worked with Busta Rhymes, producing 3 songs on this LP. Was it When Disaster Strikes, Extinction Level Event, Anarchy, or Genesis?
I want to say it's ELE and I'm B. I could be wrong though. I get them mixed up, A and B. So I'm gonna say B.
B is absolutely correct. It was Extinction Level Event. Now, Knotts was featured on your album Let It Go.
Yes.
Which recently celebrated an anniversary.
10 years. Yep. 10 years. Mid-June 2006. No, 2012. What am I talking about? 2006. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's obviously, and you guys did some reissues for that, for the album that you have available now. What is it like sort of looking back on a record that's 10 years old? Does that feel totally surreal to you?
I'm happy with it. I feel that it's an accurate depiction of myself as a producer. All the features of personal relationships. You know, it's not cold calls. Those are all the homies. And I think it's a dope, it's like a crew picture. It's a dope snapshot of what we were all on at that time. I'm definitely grateful to all those cats for showing up for me. We got a cassette deluxe with a couple of Knowledge remixes on the website for the anniversary. Yeah, shout to Nasto, man. He's fucking illest man walking. You know what I mean?
His Instagram puts so much like fear and self-doubt into so many producers, I think, because the way that he just consistently, just casually is tossing off these amazingly fire tracks. It just like, you can't help but be shook. What do you think is, in your mind, what is the model for the best like producer compilation? You know, like as somebody who put out a compilation album, was there one that sort of served as maybe a model or a benchmark for you that like, okay, this is the standard of a great one? Because they can be spotty, you know, like it can be challenging. So which one takes the crown for you?
I mean, of course, you know, one of my favorites is Welcome to Detroit. You know what I mean? Being there and seeing a lot of it take place. It's personal, and you know, yeah, just balance. You know what I mean? You don't make sure you showcase a range of talent. You know what I mean? Content wise, you know what I mean? You can have tough guy shit on there. You can have conscious shit, you know, have some singing on there, spoken word, whatever. Just make sure there's some type of variety. They don't just get the same fucking song 20 times.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's comps that are like, God damn, it's the same song 20 times with 40 different rappers.
Yeah. Gets a little monotonous.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to continue dipping into the producer theme here with our third question. Which of the following producers has Black Thought not collaborated with for his Streams of Thought series? Is it Ninth Wonder, Salaam Remi, Sean C., or Static Selecta?
D, Static Selecta.
He is on his game, folks, but that's because he is House Shoes, and Static Selecta is the correct answer. Thought somebody who's been having a crazy sort of second chapter.
Yep.
I don't know if you can divide it as the second, maybe it's the third or fourth chapter, but it feels
True.
really good to see the world. I'm not one of those guys who gets pissed where it's like, oh, Black Dot was the illest in 1996. Like, why are you guys so late? Like, to me, I'm just like, yes, give him the flowers now, right?
Yeah, better late than never. And fuck arguing. We could talk about rap shit, but it's such a waste of time. I don't get like all the arguing, like the angry rap arguments, because you're not arguing about rap music. You're arguing about how someone feels about whatever said album or song or topic is.
Yeah.
A lot of weight off the shoulders and a lot of time saved when I had that little epiphany a few years ago. And just shit in general. You know what I mean? Like, you're never arguing about what the topic is. You're arguing about with how they feel about it.
Right. And when you're defending it, you're defending what you think your opinion represents for you. And it's like it's not about this, it's about that. You know, whatever it is. So
there are facts that exist though. Let's not get that fucked up. Everything's not up for discussion.
Right.
So there's factual things in this world too. You know, there's science is awesome too.
Paging Dart, yeah. Well, I was going to say Paging Dart Adams when it comes specifically to that. But yes, shout out to science and scientists and medical professionals as well.
Yes, Dart Adams, the human rap encyclopedia.
The man who will correct DJ Premier about a Gang Starr release date because he's like, actually, Preem.
It got pushed. Yo, did you see what I posted? That was a ill little kind of questions trivia thing. I don't know how I never realized it until 26 years later. Stakes is High came out on Ahmad Jamal's birthday.
I remember you posted that. And yeah, I remember that was like, oh shit, I had no idea about it.
Yo, that fucking...
You want to talk about Cosmic, because there's no way that they planned that. It's not that they were like, all right.
No, it got pushed. It got pushed 2 weeks right before. Like, it was supposed to come out, and then it got pushed those additional 2 weeks, and that had it land on Ahmad Jamal's birthday.
But not intentionally. Like, they weren't like trying to hit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's wild. That sort of that cosmic, coincidence there. That was that. Yeah, I love stuff like that. That you can't argue about that either.
Yeah, and everybody who's listening should know. But the reason it's so crazy is because Ahmad Jamal Swahili Land is the source material for the title track "Stakes is High" on that album, produced by JD. Bang, bang.
See, this is how she's being a proper host and actually putting things into context. I had that thought the other day. Like, man, I've been doing all these, and like I'm trying to do a better job with the introductions of these episodes, because I just assume that if you're like, down with the questions and you're listening, like, who all these people are. But then I'm like, oh, there's like actually millions of people on the planet. And like, maybe I want to be a little more welcoming that like, this is who House Shoes is, just not just
audible, slow audible footnotes.
Exactly. I know. I got to work on that. All right. We're going to move into the final question in our first round. And this is another familiar face. Quelle Chris is no joke, but he does like to laugh. Which of these comedians has not appeared on a Quelle Chris album? Is it Anthony Jeselnik, Josh Gondelman, Hannibal Buress, or Nick Offerman?
Fuck, man.
We had to turn the heat up, Shoes. We couldn't just softball.
And this is some Largo shit too.
You see how my brain works when I put these games together. Exactly.
Man, I've never heard the name Josh Gondelman. I feel like Offerman was on it. I think Jeselnik, and I know Burris was. Man, it's a coin toss between B and D for me, even though they might be wrong. I don't know if Jesselnick would be on it because he seems like he's kind of I can't see him as a rap dude though either. But I wouldn't look at Nick Offerman as a fucking rap dude. Oh, you just get the whole stream of conscious as it's coming.
I love it. It's content, baby.
And I don't think we've had an A. I would say, fuck, I think he might have been, but Jesselnick, I don't think it's right.
Jesselnick is correct. He is not appeared. Now, I will say this. Anthony Jeselnik has been on, he did the interludes on a Your Old Droog album. So he is something.
See, you are a sneaky motherfucker for that because it's like that it could get gray area. I know I heard him on a record. Fuck it, that was,
Yeah, so
I got it.
Yeah. They've all been. Josh Gondelman is a comedian and also a huge hip hop head, and he also was, I believe, the head writer for Jesus and Mero as well.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But yeah, you sort of addressed this, and I wanted to talk about it. You've been popping up a bit more frequently at Club Largo in West Hollywood, which is a totally sort of different scene, I think, than what people might associate with you. For those who don't know, Largo is a pretty interesting club. I've been trying to explain it to people because I've been frequenting it more recently, but they sort of get a lot of top level comedian and artist acts. And it's just a really dope vibe in Los Angeles. What has it been like for you as a DJ who has been doing a lot of the pre-show and post-show events there?
It's amazing. I tell people that Largo is the kind of the intersection of music and comedy in LA. And one of its main purposes is if someone's got a new act or some new material and they want to kind of watershed it and rehearse it, that's kind of the playing field for that type of shit. If Sarah's got some new shit or, you know what I mean? Russell Brand will do a whole week. And it's dope, man. Just fly on the wall, just seeing them get their new shit together. And it's the rare venue in another way where the entire staff from the ownership to the fucking valet are just the coolest people that you've ever been around. Venues are shitty. There's always a bunch of dickheads at a venue. You know what I mean? A lot of egos, none of that there. No computers are allowed. You have to play vinyl. They do not want you to play typical shit. They don't want to hear Pink Floyd. It's too pedestrian. Play
too
shit
expected.
That people haven't heard. You know what I mean?
Right.
Fuck the crowd. You play for the staff and the management. You know what I mean?
These are going against the cardinal rules.
It's the best.
Typical, yeah.
It's the best.
I love it. Yeah. And just to be clear, also, it's for comedians or musicians, but people who are top level, Judd Apatow does nights there. And
he has a monthly. Pete, man, I just fucking do my set and jet unless, and the funny thing is some of the people that I really check for, their crowds are fucking Bill Burr has the most sterile crowd, which is really wild to me. Just totally antiseptic, not a fucking head nod, not a finger tap. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's some good times though. Just getting the casual, someone will say thank you, just when they're walking past on the way into the show. I love it, man. It's not a bag. It's not a fucking a crazy amount of money, but it's a very kind of different and interesting job. I never really give a fuck about the crowd when I DJ anyway. Right. So it's just a place where I can go play my fucking favorite records that week.
Yeah, and I mean, for what it's worth, it certainly, I think, would have value in that you are rubbing shoulders and being in the room or the patio, as it were, with a lot of people who you never know what kind of relationships. And because everybody is so cool, it's not just a cut and dry kind of all right, get the fuck out of here type thing.
Yeah, and with COVID and everything, it's a lot safer than being inside with a bunch of motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
And what I really did appreciate as well is that they seem to be out of all the venues,
they are not playing, bro.
They are not playing at all. They come out and they're like, "Hey, you have to wear your mask, and you want to drink? This is how you do it. You pull your mask down, just take a sip, mask goes right back up.
You still got to show your vaccine cards. You know what I mean? They're not playing. This shit ain't over with yet, man. I understand that everyone wants their convenient little life back, but 1,500 plus people are still dying across the world every day, you selfish motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, there ain't going to be no normal. And I think the really wild shit is, man, we started wearing masks and fucking washing our fucking hands, and goddamn, when's the last time I got sick?
Right.
Like, when's the last time you got sick? What's so fucking inconvenient about not getting sick, yo? Like, it raised the bar for hygiene, but motherfuckers want to make it a problem. Like, man, this is fucking my rights up, man. I should be able to get sick. When the whole point is, motherfuckers is getting sick and they're dying.
As somebody who went to and probably still will go to a lot of shows, I also appreciate wearing masks because I don't have to worry about people's breath or my breath being like kicking. Like, it's amazing. And like, you know, sometimes when you're at a show, maybe you're a little tired, you feel self-conscious about yawning. I could yawn with my mask on now. It's amazing. Nobody knows. It's like a security blanket.
I'm fucking bored and no one can tell.
Exactly. So yeah, shout out to the Largo. I definitely, you know, I went to, I believe that I went to the last Pete Holmes show was maybe like a month or two ago. And I think I narrowly missed you there. And my girlfriend was like, hey, I don't like really remember him, but I think that like that was like that guy House Shoes that you had on the questions out there. And I was like, I don't think so. Because this was before I knew it. I was like, that would be very weird for him to be here. I think I would have known that. And then I looked.
No, I've been there for 10 years, bro. Like since they moved pretty much. And that's a big shout to the homie Fat Albert Einstein. My man Chris from Largo, that's his house. That's been his house since they were on Fairfax. Like, he's the DJ. You know, those are his turntables. He's got a big room of records up there. It's super fire. So he brought me in like 10 years ago, you know, and we carried the weight. He's only doing it, and big love to him right now. He got in a shitty fucking surfing accident and broke like 6 ribs and deflated his lung and shit. So he's at home healing up. Big love and good energy to the homie Fat Al right now.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's funny. The first time that I ever came to LA in 2005, I want to say, the first night I was there, I went to Largo and I saw John Bryan, you know, the producer who has worked with Kanye and Fiona Apple and all the soundtracks and stuff. And then I was just visiting, and then I moved back to LA like 8 years ago. And I only went back to Largo for the second time 3 months ago. So I don't know why I sort of forgot about this place, but it's great.
Man, those John Bryan shows were fucking legendary, bro. Like,
I had no idea what I was getting into when I went. It was just I was in California because we were going to Coachella in 2005, and we stopped in LA for the night. So and somebody's a friend's like older brother or something was like, oh, I got to take you to the spot, and we're like, okay, well, we didn't know anything. Like, we were just like, okay, we'll go here. And then I was like, oh my God, I think I know this John Bryan guy. And then when he started doing these shows where he's like using looping pedals and playing all of these instruments, it was like, no one will even believe me if I tell them about what this is.
Right. All the requests, the second half saw, Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Anyway, this has been an extended infomercial for Largo. Use promo code Sean House Shoes to get 10% off at your next show. Shoes, you have done flawlessly thus far. We're going to move into our second round, which is a new version of the show that is more conducive to podcast listeners. It is called Check the Rhyme. And in this round, I'm going to play you a snippet of a song, and it's going to cut off, and you have to complete the rhyme of the artist.
Wow. Okay.
There. So we're going to get into it. This is the first artist, one that is familiar, I'm sure, to you. This is a Slum Village song. So we will get into it. This is the lyric.
First place, you made a crucial mistake. My crew congregates just to aggravate. Come with plots to infiltrate and abbreviate. And if you think we out, shit, we got rhythm for days. Take it to another phase, rip your ass off the stage.
Oh, fuck. You're going to get me on all these, man. I'm terrible with raps.
Terrible with raps.
I'm a beat guy. So I listen to lyrics. 90% of the time I'm listening to lyrics as an instrument. I'm listening to the voice as like just a cadence, as a percussive place.
Especially with Slum. Especially with Slum.
That's what they fucking were. But yeah, no, I don't even know the Slum shit. Like,
because this is like the third time I've done this round, I may retire this. This might have been a failed thought experiment because I'm having a lot of people that are very knowledgeable about all this shit who are like, I can't do it. But This is the lyric.
Another phase, rip your ass off the stage. Have you feeling the blaze of NWAs?
Have you feeling the blaze of NWAs?
Yeah. See, if I was a rapper, I would be like, I'm a DJ, so like I nod my head to the beat. If I was a rapper, I'd be like saying the raps. You know what I mean?
You'd be surprised because I've had some rappers on the show and they still are.
They don't know nothing.
Yeah, maybe that's just because they know their own shit and they don't really know other people's shit.
Right.
So, I read the Dilla Time book when it came out last year, and you were featured in that. And obviously, you've been so tied to the story of J Dilla and Slum Village, and you've been such an early, proponent of that group. Do you feel like there's, at this point, do you think that we're like, that the world will get, and do we need like a J Dilla movie? Like, is there anything like that you've sort of seen?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not already in production, I mean, who knows? I definitely, it's capitalism.
Sure.
I hope it's good. I'm just, I got a book brought a lot of shit back. You know what I mean? That was the end of that shit. There was a period that it just got kind of dark. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the book brought some of it back, and it's I guess they call it trauma. I've been dealing with my trauma. No, you know what I mean? Like, all the right things for all the right reasons, man. That's my brother till the end of days. I put out his first record. I played his shit in the public place for the first time. And I'll always be a proponent for his music. I just prefer the catalog that he created while he still had breath in his lungs.
Yeah. I mean, and that's
no shots. I'm not starting no shit. I'm not about to argue with a motherfucker.
No.
Oh, y'all go sit down. Chill the fuck out. You know what I mean?
No, and that's not even a hot take for really any artist. I think for most people, the posthumous stuff is always kind of graded on a curve anyway, and it rarely is as potent and good. How the fuck could it be? You can't compare music that was created and signed off and completed by the artist versus stuff that, for all intents and purposes, was never intended to see the light of day. So
right, I think as shitty as some of these posthumous records are, I think one of the grossest things is like the Dilla stands. Like, that shit is so gross.
What do you mean? In what way?
Just the Dilla stand, fucking brownie point rare. I got some rare shit you ain't got. And just the fact that at the end of the day, none of them have a educated foundation on any of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
My beats are turning up on fucking unreleased Dilla beat albums now. You know what I mean? And if that don't show you how fucking stupid motherfuckers are, like, and how uneducated you are, like, you're making a permanent document. Hey, man, my beats are on there. And just like Dilla didn't want anybody to hear those beats that are on there, I didn't want nobody to hear them beats. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just gross because motherfuckers act like they know every fucking thing. They know, like, man, Dilla got the illest social security number ever.
Yeah, it's also that sort of gross trying to brag about shit that isn't even.
But none of them know. Like, literally none of them. Generationally now, it's just.
They're very far removed from the original source. But I mean, that's why, at least I thought that Dan's book, I think, is a good resource, because I think in terms of laying out the information, you could call people dumb, but really it's just maybe that they're just uneducated. They don't know.
Yeah.
Like, how could a 15-year-old today really know about that time and all of the players and the components of it? So, I was a big fan of that book, and I definitely think
they should feel that they are a student, not a teacher, because they all feel like they're fucking teachers. You know what I mean?
100%.
I'm the fucking teacher. You know what I mean?
But also, to extend that even further, where is most of that posturing happening? It's happening on the internet, where people are just notoriously grandstanding and just people would never say and have that same confidence talking to you or anybody about.
It stopped being about good or bad a long time ago. It kind of got to be about rare. And that's how the records got so bad.
Right.
Just because ain't nobody heard it, there's a fucking reason, homie. That shit wasn't that good.
Right.
Like, I remember back in the day, I was kind of not capable of saying that Dilla made a bad beat. in the prime. It was all like, even his worst beat was better than a lot of people's best beat. But he's got a lot of shitty beats, man, in hindsight. Oh my God, how you said Dilla got shitty beats. He's got shitty beats. You motherfuckers have been putting them on records for the last 10 years.
Right.
That's why his fucking manicured fucking collection of music that he left with us was so perfect, because he cared so much, and all that shit was in a trash can in the basement for a reason.
Right.
He had a big ass trash can in the corner that was full of tapes, floppies, DATs, CDs, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the trash. He kept it, but it was the trash.
Right. And that's a misnomer about genius, where they think that people who are great are just great at everything they do. And they don't realize, literally in this case, the reason why some people are great is because they fail 1,000 times before they present you the one that is the refinement of that. And that's... Anyway, I promise, I feel like it's a topic that you've spoken about to death. That will be the final J Dilla.
No, that's all good. And that's all good, because that's like current events. I ain't talked about that, and now I don't have to anymore.
Hey, you heard it here first and only here on the question. So we're going to move into the second question in this perhaps dubious round that I might retire after this. I don't like people not looking great on this show. So this is a lyric by another deceased rapper. Well, T3 is obviously not deceased, but we were talking about Dilla. Prodigy.
Yes.
Boy P, man, take your baby mom's advice. I'm nothing sweet, ill with the guns. You pay the price when you see me in the street, soldier, salute me.
Oh, you gangster to shoot me. I don't know those.
Just a groupie. Oh, you gangster, you shoot me.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to you. I'll take
it.
Yes, he's the unofficial third member of Mobb Deep, folks.
Oh man,
hype man.
First time I cried over a fucking musician. Period, not just a rapper. When Prodigy died, I was a newborn baby over here, bro. Woo.
Yeah, because it was so sudden too. Obviously his illness was documented, but it didn't seem like he was on his way out for sure.
Oh man, yeah. That record was my best friend for 20, 25 years, damn near at that point. Jesus.
Had you met him before?
No, and I'm grateful I didn't.
Because you don't want to sort of taint.
I'm a fan. Yeah. I'm a fucking fan. Like, sometimes you just got to be a fan. Ain't shit wrong with that. Ain't shit wrong with being a fan. Oh, you Dilla motherfuckers. And just be a fucking fan, man. Unplug your keyboard.
Unplug the keyboard. All right, we're gonna move into the third and final in this round. We got the duo of EPMD.
I knew I was the man with the master plan to make it wiggle and jiggle like gelatin. Just think while I sing, and to bring structure.
Don't sleep on the E.
You see, something might rupture. It don't take time for me to blow your mind.
Give you something. Nope.
It don't take time for me to blow your mind.
Nope.
All right, here we go.
It don't take time for me to blow your mind. It take a second to reckon because you dumb.
Yeah, a second. I knew it was time related, but I couldn't remember. Man, that shit fucked me up when I heard that fucking PMD produced the first Strictly Business album.
Yeah, that
shit fucking twisted my whole head up, bro. Like, wow. One of the first fucking albums that I really fucked with, like super heavy. And you have this fucking, you have this image that, you think you know what the fuck it is. And 30 years later, guess what? Nah, he did that record.
I feel like EPMD doesn't get the recognition that they should. Why do you think that is?
Generational.
Yeah.
They had 4 fucking solid ass records. They're definitely in the, I'd say possibly top 5 rap groups ever. Easily. You know what I mean? Like consistency, a sound, like Eric Sermon. They were both fucking dope as fuck on the raps. That shit was fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Well,
Eric and Parrish making dollars. Fantastic.
Yep. We're going to move on to our third round now. And I do think I'm going to rethink the check the rhyme round moving forward. But now we're into the producer crate. The third round is our digging in the crates round. It's all about samples. I'm going to play you a sample, ask you a question about it. So let's get into the first question in this round. library music cue Pots and Pans by Anthony King and John Matthews was sampled on a song by this artist? Was it A, Beanie Siegel, B, Jadakiss, C, Open Mike Eagle, or D, Pusha T? Here is the sample.
Pusha T.
I'm so bossy, bitch, get off me. It's a different jingle when you hear these car keys.
So I wanted to use this to sort of speak about producers, and you mentioned him earlier, but a guy like Soundtrack, his whole ascent is super crazy to me. He's another guy who's really making great use of social media and also sort of doing. It's almost as though, I don't want to say that the beats were made only for like videos and social media, but they fit very well.
They translate very well. Yes, absolutely.
How did you discover him? Like, how did you? Not that you were the guy who discovered him, but like, how did he kind of come onto your radar?
I met him, maybe like 5 years ago at NAMM, and he was playing beats with his homie Zenon. And I gave him a card and told him to send me a pack, and he never sent me a pack. And then I met him again somewhere, and I told him to send me a pack, and he never sent me a pack. And then I want to say my homie Simi Auto, had him send me a pack. And he sent the fucking pack. And I was like, I ain't lose my ear. Fucking thank God. And the first beat I heard was the Krog bin flip. And I was like, you got a record. I just need, 35 more minutes worth.
Right.
That's how it is. I could tell immediately, like 4 bars in, 2 bars in, like, oh man, he's got it. All right, let's see how fast you can knock the shit out. And he kept sending packs. And then we had the record, and then there was like one last kind of redraft because like early in, COVID days, all these little producer rooms started opening up where people were like playing beats, and he was on this joint called Session In one night, and he played like 3 or 4 joints. And I was like, hey man, we gotta fucking move some shit around.
Yeah.
And with those additional cards, those 4 joints came in, and I had to completely, resequence the album for it to make them as much sense as possible. And when that last fucking sequence, whew.
So you have an active hand in sort of compiling the sequence and arrangement.
Everything. You can't turn in a record to me and I put it out. That's not how it works. I mean, there are records on the label that have been, like other people's records that, hey man, what the fuck are you doing, man? Just give me the record, I'll put it out.
Right.
But yeah, I'm very heavy-handed. Like, you give me 100 beats, 200 beats. Fucking Mike and Keys album. The next record that's coming out is Mike and Keys album. Mm. And I went through like 200 beats, and comes out in August, and it sounds like it could have been Nipsey's next album.
Wow.
Like it's fucking heavy, man. It's called Formula One. I'm really excited. The record should be landing soon. Bless Mike and Keys, man. Nipsey passed, I had a bunch of homies that know each of us mutually, like that knew Nip and knew me, and like, oh, y'all never met? Like, man, he would have loved you. Y'all were the same fucking person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I finally went over there to the studio. After Nip passed, he told me to pull up, and I went through there, and they got the fucking Dilla doll right next to the console. They said whenever Nip would come in, he would holler at Dilla first thing. And it's like, come on, bro.
Wow.
Like,
see, that's one of those things that like it makes sense. But like, I think in our very broad strokes, it's like that could be a surprise to somebody. They'd be like, oh, like Nipsey knew who Dilla was,
Right.
But it's cool to see that. I mean, look, I'm not the first person to say it. Like, good music just transcends any kind of man-made boundaries or stereotypes. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mike looks at me and he's like, "We want to do an instrumental record on Street Corner Music."
You're like, say less. Yeah.
Like, guess what the fuck you about to do? And yeah, just super gracious, man. And I'm really grateful, man. Like, there's a lot of motherfuckers that get it. There's a handful of people that don't, but the war that you got to wage is what are you going to give your attention to? Mm-hmm. Are you going to give your attention to the people that aren't listening, or are you going to give your attention to the people that are listening?
Right.
And depending on how you woke up in the morning, it might not be the same on a day-to-day basis. Just keep it, you know what I mean?
We're all human. Yeah, we're all human.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I can't wait to hear that, because everything that you put out, obviously not only because of your hand in the arrangement of it, but also just your taste you have a track record that speaks for itself. So
thank you, brother.
You know, I think you've really reached a good place when you can rely just on the brand to be like, okay, I'm going to listen to this at the very least, because, you know, he hasn't let me down thus far, you know?
Yeah, I'm not a big sports guy, but I'm big on batting averages. And I think I've got a pretty decent batting average. You know what I mean?
Agreed. All right, we're going to move into the penultimate question in our third round. The main ingredients, Magic Shoes, was most popularly sampled by Large Professor for main sources Fakin' the Funk. But in 2002, this producer also flipped it for his own group. Was it A, Chief XL, B, Ninth Wonder, C, Pharrell Williams, or D, Thes One? And I'm going to play you the portion of the Magic Shoes that was sampled by the producer in question.
Fuck, man, I'm not 100 on any of these producers, just to keep it a buck. But it really sounds like some Ninth Wonder shit to me.
Okay. Once again, proving why he has impeccable taste, impeccable batting average. Not even sure of the answer, but he is correct, because Little Brother is the group, and Ninth Wonder sampled it for this song.
Fire.
Settlement. I rhyme at the crime scene and purposely leave the evidence.
The song was called On the Way. It was on the Chitlin Circuit mixtape. You know, Little Brother was just one of those groups, and still is, but especially in that time, so many of the albums, or so many of the songs that they dropped such great things that weren't even on albums. They were on mixtapes. They were on sort of these little one-off projects that were basically albums. You know, people say, oh, Little Brother, you know, they have 3 albums, or now they have 4 albums. It's like, yeah, they really have like 7 or 8 when you compile all that stuff.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that kind of also speaks to, you know, Ninth sampling, you know, this song that was very popularly sampled by Large Professor. It's cool, you know, hearing a lot of things on your label, producers taking material that's been, it's almost like, it's like Indiana Jones, where it's like, this is the lamp that you must not touch. If you touch it, you know, the huge like boulder is going to roll down. And you have guys like Stro Elliot or Soundtrack that are just like, and they take it and yoink it and they run with it. It's like, wow. It reminds me too of like the Just Blaze flip of Super Freak that he did back, you know, for Jay-Z, or initially on his MySpace. Is that ever like a fear for you as a label owner in terms of clearance, or you just kind of
no, I don't care. I haven't cleared anything, but the way the workaround is like with the Soundtrack flips, where it's all just such obvious source material and there's intros. There's no digital.
Right.
You can buy it on the Bandcamp, but there's no streaming, and you know, there's 500 records. So
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's cool. Like, and the funny thing is, in regards to that, like when I started doing flip sessions 10 years ago, it was about finding ill samples that no one used. And it's grown to be like, no, let's hear somebody beat this shit up again. At first, it used to be like, man, that sample's worn out. And some samples are like worn the fuck out. Like, bro, put the record away. You know what I mean? Like in modern times, like a lot of rappers don't listen to a lot of other rappers.
Right.
Because the fact that, like, you know, in the last fucking 5 years, I'd say probably 25 to 30 rappers of somewhat of public, you know, visibility have sampled that fucking Rubber the Waystar shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, bro. Like, and 90% of them are literally the same fucking beat. It's the same shit. Like, step it up, man. Just fucking go on Who Sampled and make sure that your whole album ain't already come out.
It's very easy. It's a quick one-stop shop. You just type it up in that search bar, and yeah, that's certainly what I do whenever I find a sampler or something where I'm like, all right, let me just make sure. I'm not as concerned about people like having used it, but it's just like, let me make sure that I'm not doing
the same thing.
What was done. And that is kind of like the new challenge. Whereas I think before, I guess it's relatively easy to find things that nobody has ever found before because now we all have the internet and the rules that never really existed, but the rules about sampling used to be like, it must be from vinyl and it must be this.
Right.
Now it's very easy to find sounds,
now it must be sampled from YouTube.
Right, exactly. No, but I'm saying like there's such a wide net that you could cast that it's not really like, ooh, like props for you finding that YouTube video. Like, so the flip of that, no pun intended, is, okay, this is something that everybody has heard. We all know this. What are you going to do to and yeah, I love your flip sessions as well.
Yeah, like that's why I wanted to do the Impeach the President. And I told him, I was like, you're not going to get tossed out if you don't, but just fuck with the record. Right. Nothing else. I want just like, show me who the boss is. Like, you don't, that's it. That's your sandbox. That fucking 7-inch. That's it. Nothing else.
Yeah. Well, we're going to close out this round with one more sample. I knew this would be a fun round to talk with you. We are pivoting to the incomparable Bob James. Bob James's Nautilus has been sampled so many times. This is another one that's been sampled left and right. But who amongst this group has not sampled it? Is it A, Cannabis, B, Merce, C, Danny Brown, or D, Ghostface Killah? And just for the benefit of our listeners, I'm going to play a little bit of Nautilus right now. So who amongst this group has not sampled it?
I might be tripping, but Danny.
All right.
Maybe I might be tripping. I think I'm wrong from your reaction. Well, but one thing I want to ask is, I have a question. My question is, when the fuck is anybody going to ask Bob Murs or ask Bob James about when he said fuck hip hop?
Well,
like literally everyone acted like he never said it, and motherfuckers is giving him hand jobs and interviews and shit. And that disturbed me because he literally said that like it was damn near racist. You know what I mean? It was like them black motherfuckers can't play instruments. Like go find those interviews, please.
Shoes, what can I tell you? We can see from the photo he's wearing a backwards hat. He's obviously down. He's
so hip hop.
He has no problem with it. Yeah, I think for a guy like him, he probably obviously had a really bad hot take early on. But what can you do at this point?
Well, you got to address it. You can't just act like you never said it and then be campaigning for motherfuckers to sample your music when prior to that, when they did sample your music, you basically called them fucking monkeys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Not cool at all.
Fuck Bob James until he speaks on that shit. And the funny thing is, for the soundtrack shit, he beat up Nautilus, and I didn't even ask him if we could clear it. Fuck him. Shout the track lib though.
Shout to TrackLib. You might want to check on your boy Bob though. Maybe not all is what it seems with a backwards cap Bob. This is such a cringy photo as well.
Oh my god.
He's like, hey kids, do you like sampling records? So you're saying that you think that it's Danny Brown then? That's your final answer?
I mean, I know Ghostface. I'm not super familiar with Murs catalog. I'm not super Cannabis was like a one-hit boy to me, in all honesty. And Danny's the homie, and he's got a lot of records, but I can't recall him on Nautilus. So I guess I got to stick to that. I don't think I'm gonna have a good batting average today.
All right, well, we're going to see. I'm going to actually do a little playthrough reveal here. We're all going to learn something here. So first of all, yes, obviously, this was probably one of the most prominent uses of it was Ghostface.
Yeah.
You track it like a bangers in 100-wide boxes. No jostling these cash while little JB Deli and sip Irish spice out of weed.
On the album Murray's Revenge with Merce and Ninth Wonder, Merce also sampled it.
Hood legend, you should feel threatened. Front, I'ma show you what's good in a second. The best in the business. I mean,
And then finally, the grand reveal, also sampled by
the Shakespeare of 16s, dipping my ink. Sculpture of me, but
That's right. Yeah.
Danny Brown sampled it.
Yep.
So Cannabis was the only one not to sample it. But, you know, there's a lot of useless information for a human brain to to keep. So don't worry about that batting average. I think that you're in all right shape. But now we have moved on to our final round, and the final round is called Time's Up. This is our speed round, where we will have 90 seconds to answer 5 non-multiple choice questions in the category of your choosing. Today's categories are health is wealth, king shit, or bugs and out. You choose your category, Shoes. You will have 90 seconds.
Let's go with king shit.
It's going king shit. All right. I will go through the rules here. You will have 90 seconds to answer 5 questions in the category of your choice. If you do not know the answer, you can say pass and we can come back to it. But if you answer it incorrectly, we will then have to burn that question and you are done. So I have OC's Time's Up here, and it is time to 90 seconds. So when we stop hearing the instrumental, you will know that your time is up. Are you ready to do this?
Let's go.
All right. House Shoes, second time up to plate here. He's doing king shit. Let's get into it. What was the lead single off of T.I.'s 4th album, King?
Oh, fuck. Pass. Fuck.
All right. Compton rapper King T was largely responsible in mentoring this hip-hop trio.
Alcoholics.
That is correct. All right. Rapper King Mez broke through in a big way on Dr. Dre's Compton album, where he wrote most of the songs. What state does King Mez come from?
I don't know.
All right. We're going to pass on that. Run DMC tapped this producer to get behind the boards on the first single from their 6th album, Down with the King.
P-Rock.
P-Rock is correct. In 2021, Detroit rapper Frank Nitt teamed with this producer for his album Serene OG.
King Michael Coy.
King Michael Coy is correct. All right, let's go back. What was the lead single off of T.I.'s album King?
What you know about that?
That is correct. All right, last question. King Mez. What state is King Mez the rapper from?
California.
California is incorrect. All right, Shoes. That was a very impressive. I think that your batting average is in good shape here. King Mez hails from North Carolina. He is a North Carolina rapper. So
I thought it was like a trick question.
No, I mean I am good for those from time to time, but I wasn't doing it that time. So let me total up your score here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, you have scored an 11 out of 15, which is a pretty high percentage. Let me tell you who is in the club with you there. But while I pull up the rankings that I can tell you who you're rubbing elbows with in the VIP, I always like to ask guests, now that you have been on the show, and this is your 2nd time on the show,
right.
Who should we get? And it works even better if it's somebody that you can harass with me to come on the show. So who's somebody that you think we should have as a guest on the questions?
Quelle Chris.
I would love to get Quelle Chris. I had him on my other show, Can't Knock the Shuffle, here on Stony Island, and it was great.
Who else? Let me see. Since you already had him on the other one, let's see. Maybe Soundtrack?
Yo. Yes. I would love Soundtrack. Yeah.
Fire.
I believe we follow each other on one of the things. I'm going to hit him up and say specifically that Shoes said he was going to break his legs if let me tell you who you're in the 11 club with, Shoes. It's an elite group here. Diallo Riddle, Kim Osorio from The Source, DJ Mighty Mai, Mr. C, Mega Ran, Homeboy Sandman, Lyrics Born, Chubb Rock, Russell Peters, J Live, Elda Sensei, Salam Remy, Marco Polo, Static Selected, Dan Charnas, Brother Ali. The 11 Club is a great place to be.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
all right.
This is
better than the 27 Club.
We're better than the 27 Club, which would be mathematically impossible for this show, but also tragic if we weren't talking that context. Shoes, what can people look out for? I know you mentioned that you have the Mike and Keys album coming out on Street Corner Music in August. Is there anything else that you can share or that people should be on the lookout for from you and the label?
Yes. Make sure you go to first and foremost, go to streetcornerscm.com. Hit that mailing list. We do little pop-ups sometimes with exclusive little pieces that go by pretty quickly. But yeah, Mike and Keys, August. Quelle Chris, Shotgun Sleek Rifle later this year, vinyl, finally. Ooh. 10-year. Yeah. And there's a lot of other shit coming through the pipeline. Make sure you tap in. I do Twitch Mondays and Wednesdays for an extremely ridiculous, 10 hours on Mondays and Wednesdays. We just get fucking shit-faced and play Heat all day. So that's always fun to pull up to. IG, Twitter, House Shoes, Street Corner SCM. Appreciate your time and your interest.
Of course. Thank you for coming on the show. And we'll see you. We got to have you back for a third round now. We'll just keep having you back. Maybe it'll be like an annual House Shoes holiday episode or something.